So this video is going to show you from start to finish how it is that you schedule a service form in Credible. Again, there's 3 ways that you can schedule within the software. The first being from this tab up at the top, the second from your employee profile page, and the third from the individual tab. We'll take a look at all 3 of those. So while I'm demoing, I'll go ahead and mention all of the steps and the objectives that you all will take. I encourage you to just watch how I'm moving through these steps, and again, your facilitator will provide an opportunity for you to practice these skills. This video, of course, is available for you to rewatch or watch certain segments of if needed. So the very first thing I want to point out is while we're practicing, we want to be in the test domain. So if you are attending a training academy now, making sure that you're in the test domain, the things that we're going to be doing really will create billable services if you were to do them in the live domain. So the 3 areas of the software: the schedule tab, very self-explanatory, gets you right to where you need to be. This is our recommended location. Visiting your employee profile tab is going to provide you, just by going about midway down on the side navigation, the exact same schedule that we saw on the top. So this is always your employee view. This is your calendar. It's only going to have your events listed, and you can tell that because your name will be at this top left-hand corner. And the final place that you can schedule for an individual is from their own individual tab. And the benefit in that, so this is just about a quarter of the way down here, is I'm going to click on schedule. Let's go back a few weeks, and you can see that they've had some scheduled services here. Now if they're my co-counselor that's scheduling, or perhaps an outpatient therapist, crisis worker, it could be a variety of different things. I want to make sure that I am scheduling, even though I'm free, at a time that my client is also free. So that's really the benefit of coming to your client schedule, is just to ensure what their availability is. That also goes back to our best practices, that we need to schedule everything in advance. So there's so much benefit to you, but there's also a team benefit, that we need to understand what one another are doing so that we don't end up overlapping each other. So in the test domain, you've been assigned to Teams, and Teams is what drives your access within Credible. And so all of you have been assigned to a client team, and a client team essentially includes every client since we went live with Credible back in 2015 that has been served at your site. So it's a really robust access, allows you a lot of peeking behind the curtain, looking at how certain charts have been developed. Your supervisor, I imagine, will be able to point you to some really great examples. But in my case, I have been assigned to the Annandale client team. So you'll just use whatever the name of your site is. Scroll down. I'm on the individual tab here. You'll scroll down to where your team is. So Annandale is the one I'm going to choose. And then you're going to filter. So this is going to pull in all active clients that are part of this Annandale client team. And the reason that we're taking this step, really important, right, is because you need to ensure that you're selecting a client's name for which you'll be providing that particular service. If you've got questions about that, your facilitator can certainly show you which programs you have been authorized to provide based on your credential set. And so I just get lucky. The very first one on my page is for home-based counseling. You can see other things like MHSS, IIH, outpatient is on here as well. So I imagine that you're going to see a wide variety of programs that have been assigned to these clients. And we need to know what program we're providing, because that's going to help us pick the progress note and the discharge summary that we're about to schedule. So remembering that HBC, home-based counseling, is what I'm scheduling, I go up to that schedule tab. I click in on the date I'm providing the service. We're just going to say that that's today, 6/6. And I clicked in down here. Now this pop-up window appeared that's going to allow me to actually put in the details of what I'm scheduling. If yours did not pop up, click on whatever browser you're using. This is just called your task tray. You can see mine just gave me a pop-up, and I can see the various windows that are operating within Chrome. That's generally where this guy ends up hiding if it doesn't pop right up on your screen. So the first steps that I'm going to take are I'm going to select the client. This is that home-based counseling client. And then the service form type dropdown. It can be a little overwhelming. It's going to include all of the services, all of the programs that you are authorized in Credible to provide. That's a long list, and it's got a lot of colors. So one tip that I like to provide is that if I just type HBC, it's going to bring me down in that drop-down list to the program that I was looking for. Some other really important tips as well is everything in green here within this entire drop-down list is a billable service. It's really pointing and highlighting what the progress note is for that particular program. And then we've got things in red that are really important, right? Lethality assessments, safety plans, those types of things. And then we have form groups. And we won't spend a lot of time on that, but there's a lot of materials out there for you on how that can make life easier. But what we're looking to do is to just schedule a progress note. So I'm going to do a home-based services progress note. It's going to be at my site. I'm actually going to start that activity at 4 p.m. and I plan to be with the client for 2 hours. So that duration sometimes can be just a little bit tricky. Intuitively, when we see a list like this, we think, is it going to end at 6 o'clock? This is duration, this is hours, so I'm saying it will go from 4 to 6. It's a 2-hour activity. Now the last thing that I want to do is I want to check to see if there's any authorization issues, right? So in a live system where we're tracking authorization, I would click on this pacing icon, and that's going to open up a pop-up window, and it's going to say, yep, they're set up from 6:1 to 6:30. They've used 2 of their 22 available units. So that means I'm golden. That's my ticket to play. I can absolutely schedule that time. So the final step in the process, so you can see I scrolled down, is just to schedule the event. That's now going to show up on 6/6 from 4 to 6 p.m. And we're going to do 2 things while we're in the schedule this afternoon. We're going to schedule first this progress note, and I'm actually discharging my client as well. So the next day I'm going to return, and we're going to do a discharge summary for that same client. You can put it anywhere on your schedule, use any scenario, but what I'd like for you to do is to have at least 1 progress note and 1 discharge summary. So again, I'm going to type in HBC. That brings me down to that program, and then I'm scrolling in the list just until I find HBC discharge summary. And so because it's a non-billable note, right, that's not going to generate a claim and invoice. We're going to actually need to do a progress note with the client if I was to review let's say a monthly, a treatment plan, right, any of those non-billables. In this case, I'm just saying this is something I need to get done tomorrow, and so any time on the calendar that I have that scheduled for would be fine. I'm going to say I'm going to do that at 5, and I suspect that it'll take me about 30 minutes to complete, and I'll schedule that. So let's just take a quick look at his calendar. So from the schedule, I actually can click on the little icon, and that's going to bring me back into this client schedule. So you can see now that the individual information is for the client, and on his side navigation, I can see that he is meeting with N counselor, and he has 2 appointments, so there are 2 things scheduled with this client on those days. So this is your opportunity to go into the system. The first thing you're going to do is to filter based on whatever team you're on. Find a client that's providing a service that you generally will be providing, and then go to your schedule, and you're going to schedule at least 1 progress note. So that's likely going to be home-based counseling, intensive in-home services, MHSS, TDT, outpatient, right? Those are kind of our typical progress notes. And then you're going to schedule at a different time a discharge summary. So facilitators, go ahead and pause the video here, and let's get that part set up for everyone.